Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Monday, January 5th, 2025. Today we'll recap all the NFL from the weekend, all the college football from the past couple of days, NBA, NHL, college basketball, soccer on this day, news and notes, and best bet. We'll begin with the NFL. We have the weekend to go over. It was an interesting weekend for sure. Saturday night, Bucks over the Panthers 16-14. Seahawks over the Niners 13-3 to get the 1 seed. Giants over the Cowboys 34-17, meaningless game. Texans over the Colts 38-30. Texans get the 5 seed. Browns over the Bengals 20-18. Myles Garrett breaks the sack record. Falcons over the Saints 19-17. The reason why this is a relevant result is because, despite the Bucks winning, the Falcons couldn't win because the Bucks lost to them. So the Panthers are your NFC South champions. Vikings over the Packers 16-3. Meaningless game. Jags over the Titans 41-7. Jags are at the, what seed are they? The 3? Yeah. Rams over the Cardinals 37-20. So the Rams are your 5 seed. Broncos over the Chargers 19-3. Broncos are your 1 seed in the AFC. Raiders over the Chiefs 14-12. That was a meaningless game. Raiders had the number 1 pick wrapped up, courtesy of the Giants beating Dallas. Patriots over the Dolphins 38-10. As the Patriots get the 2 seed. Commanders over the Eagles 24-17. Eagles pretty much tanked the game, so they could be the 3 seed. Lions over the Bears 19-16. The Bears tried to tank their game, or they did kind of, but they played everyone. But they're playing Green Bay, so they're the 2 seed. Bills over the Jets 35-8. So the Bills are your 6, and then the Steelers over the Ravens 26-24 to win the AFC North, and what was the game of the night on Sunday Night Football. But it was a fabulous weekend for the NFL. Yours truly went 4-1 in the final regular season, in addition of Fab 5. I don't know what my record was on the year, and I hit my underdog money line. Underdog money line came through a couple times this year, so I have to look back and see what my record was for the season. I hope I had a winning record. And I don't think I had any pushes. So that's that. All right, now move on to college football. We'll go over the games from New Year's Eve until the 2nd. But yeah, the 2nd I obviously did not do a show, as I mentioned on the Football Picks show the other night. I was very under the weather, so I couldn't do a full podcast on Friday. So, New Year's Eve, number 10 Miami over number 2 Ohio State 24-14 in the Cotton Bowl. That was a big upset. The Citrus Bowl, number 13 Texas over 18 Michigan 41-27. The ReliaQuest Bowl, number 23 Iowa over number 14 Vandy 34-27. And the Vegas Bowl, number 15 Utah over Nebraska 44-22. And the Sun Bowl, Duke over Arizona State 42-39. New Year's Day, the Orange Bowl, number 5 Oregon over number 4 Texas Tech 23-0. The Rose Bowl, number 1 Indiana kills number 9 Alabama 38-3. Let the Kalen DeBoer rumors begin. If they haven't already. And then the Sugar Bowl, number 6 Ole Miss upsets number 3 Georgia 39-34. So I think this is wide open. I mean, absolutely wide open. And then the 2nd, the Holiday Bowl, SMU over number 17 Arizona 24-19. The Armed Forces Bowl, Texas State over Rice 41-10. The Liberty Bowl, Navy over Cincinnati 35-13. And the Mayo Bowl, Wake Forest over Mississippi State 43-19. So we have the semifinals on Thursday and Friday, so we'll pick those on the shows later in the week. Okay, now I'll move on to the NBA. We will go over the results from Wednesday to Sunday, and then we'll look ahead to tonight. Wednesday night, Warriors over the Hornets, 132-125. Hawks over the T-Wolves, 126-102. Magic over the Pacers, 112-110. Cavs over the Suns, 129-113. Bulls over the Pelicans, 134-118. Spurs over the Knicks, 134-132. Nuggets over the Raptors, 106-103. Wizards over the Bucks, 114-113. And the Thunder over the Blazers, 124-95. New Year's Day, Rockets over the Nets, 120-96. Heat over the Pistons, 118-112. Sixers over the Mavs, 123-108. Celtics over the Kings, 120-106. And the Clips over the Jazz, 118-101. And then Friday the 2nd, Spurs over the Pacers, 123-113. Wizards over the Nets, 119-99. Cavs over the Nuggets, 113-108. Bulls over the Magic, 121-114. Bucks over the Hornets, 122-121. Hawks over the Knicks, 111-99. Blazers over the Pelicans, 122-109. Suns over the Kings, 129-102. Thunder over the Warriors, 131-94. And the Lakers over the Grizzlies, 128-121. Saturday, T-Wolves over the Heat, 125-115. Raptors over the Hawks, 134-117. Sixers over the Knicks, 131-119. Hornets over the Bulls, 112-99. Blazers over the Spurs, 115-110. Mavs over the Rockets, 110-104. Warriors over the Jazz, 123-114. Celtics over the Clippers, 146-115. Jaylen Brown put on a clinic with 50 points. And then Sunday, Pistons over the Cavs, 114-110. Magic over the Pacers, 135-127. Nets over the Nuggets, 127-115. Heat over the Pistons, 125-106. T-Wolves over the Wizards, 141-115. Suns over the Thunder, 108-105. Bucks over the Kings, 115-98. And the Lakers over the Grizzlies, 120-114. All right, we have 8 games tonight. 7 o'clock on Peacock, Knicks, Pistons. Couple guys are out for this game. No Jalen Duren, no Josh Hart. My line is the Pistons 2 3/4. And it is Knicks 1.5, total 232.5. I'll take the Pistons plus the points and minus or plus 108 to send the Knicks to their 4th straight loss. I obviously won't bet it, but who knows? Maybe the loss of Jalen Duren's too much. 7:30, Bulls Celtics. I have the Celtics 8.5, and it's 11 and 236.5. I'll take the Bulls plus the points. Hawks Raptors. My line is the Raptors 8.875, and it is 3 and 233.5. That's way too low. Give me the Raptors minus the points. Suns Rockets. My line is the Rockets 4.625. 8.5, 223.5. I'll take the Suns plus the points. No Sengun tonight. Horns Thunder. My line's the Thunder by 15. It's 15.5, 235.5. I'll take the over. I didn't do totals today just because of time. 8:30 on Peacock. Nuggets Sixers. My line is the Sixers 10.125 without Jokic. 15 and 225.5. I'll take Denver plus 15. It's a lot of points. 10 o'clock on Peacock. Warriors Clippers. I have Pick'em. And it's Golden State 1.5, total 225.5. I like the over. That's low. And last but not least, Jazz Blazers. I have Blazers 0.875, and it's 6 and 242.5. I'll take Utah getting 6. Portland is missing a lot of players. Okay, now move on to the NHL. We'll go over everything from New Year's Eve until Sunday, and then look ahead to today. So New Year's Eve, Preds over the Golden Knights 4-2, Caps over the Rangers 6-3, Lightning over the Ducks 4-3 OT, Sharks over the Wild 4-3 shootout, Red Wings over the Jets 2-1, Devils over the Jackets 3-2, Sabres over the Stars 4-1, Avs over the Blues 6-1, Flames over the Flyers 5-1, Bruins over the Oilers 6-2. And then New Year's Day, Sens over the Caps 4-3, Mammoth over the Isles 7-2, Leafs over the Jets 6-5, Pens over the Red Wings 4-3 overtime, Habs over the Canes 7-5, Lightning over the Kings 5-3, Blackhawks over the Stars 4-3, Kraken over the Preds 4-1. Friday, Blues over the Golden Knights 4-3. The NHL Winter Classic from Marlins Stadium, Rangers over the Panthers 5-1. So 6-0 in outdoor games now in their franchise. Kraken over the Canucks 4-3 in a shootout, and the Wild over the Ducks 5-2. Saturday, Pens over the Red Wings 4-1, Devils over the Mammoth 4-1, Jackets over the Sabres 5-1, Flyers over the Oilers 5-2, Blues over the Habs 2-0, Lightning over the Sharks 7-3, Sens over the Jets 4-2, Isles over the Leafs 4-3 OT, Blackhawks over the Caps 3-2 shootout, Avs over the Canes 5-3, Preds over the Flames 4-3, Kings over the Wild 5-4 shootout, Bruins over the Canucks 3-2 overtime. Sunday, Habs over the Stars 4-3 OT, Pens over the Jackets 5-4 OT, Panthers over the Avs 2-1, Canes over the Devils 3-1, and the Blackhawks over the Golden Knights 3-2 OT. All right, tonight we have 5 games, 7 o'clock. We have the Mammoth and the Rangers from MSG. Pick 'em, -110 each way, over under 5.5. Overs -102, and there's -120. Mammoth +1.5 is -290. Rangers -1.5 +225. I think this is must-win territory for the Rangers, who are 3 back in the wild card. But they're only 8 back of first place and 5 back of second place. That's just how crowded this is. But this is must-win territory. And they're a pick 'em at home. Meanwhile, the Mammoth are 2 back of their own as well. So it's must for both. More the Rangers because they're home. And you think before the season they would have been like a -150 in this game. Maybe even -175. But how things have fallen. I'm taking them at home -110. They got to win. Ducks Capitals. Caps -144, Ducks +120, over under 6.5, overs -128, unders +104, Ducks +1.5 is -200, Caps -1.5 +160. Tough one. I'm gonna go with the under plus money. 7:30 Red Wings Senators. Sens -152, Red Wings +128, over under 6.5, overs +110, unders -134. Red Wings +1.5 is -192, Sens -1.5 +154. Tough one. I'm gonna go with the over. 9:30 Kraken Flames. Flames -154, Kraken +128, over under 5.5, overs -122, unders even money. Kraken +1.5 is -205, Flames -1.5 +164. I'm taking the Kraken +128. In 10:30 Wild Kings. Wild -120, Kings even money, over under 5.5, overs -114, unders -105. Wild -1.5 +210, Kings +1.5 is -265. This line stinks, so I'm staying away from the line, but I'm going to go under 5.5, though, at -105. Okay, now move on to college basketball. We'll go over... we'll just do notable results from New Year's Eve until yesterday. And then we'll look ahead to tonight. All right, New Year's Eve. Loyola Chicago over Rhode Island 61-57. Tulane over East Carolina 79-70. NC State over Wake 70-57. FAU over UTSA 110-70. Buffalo over Northern Illinois 81-67. South Alabama over Louisiana 63-58. Virginia Tech over number 21 Virginia 95-85, and triple overtime. That's a weird one. VC over St. Bonaventure 89-82. George Mason over LaSalle 80-75. Dayton over Fordham, 63-56. Tulsa over Rice, 97-48. Clemson over Syracuse, 64-61. Troy over Texas State, 180. App State over Old Dominion, 81-73. Number 6, Duke over Georgia Tech, 85-79. St. Louis over St. Joe's, 102-79. George Washington over Richmond, 99-85. Memphis over North Texas, 57-48. Wichita State over UAB, 75-70. Marshall over Georgia State, 84-80. Number 4, UConn over Xavier, 90-67. Villanova over DePaul, 71-66. And St. John's over Georgetown, 95-83. New Year's Day, of note, Southern Miss over Yale Monroe, 87-73. Belmont over Bradley, 88-78. Northern Iowa over Indiana State, 75-66. Murray State over UIC, 81-77. The second, New Mexico State loses to FIU, 89-74. Western Kentucky over Sam Houston, 102-91. Number 2, Michigan over number 24, USC, 96-66. Let's see. Jacksonville State over Delaware, 67-64. Liberty over Kennesaw State, 81-73. Oregon over Maryland, 64-54. Stanford upsets number 16 Louisville, 80-76. Middle Tennessee over Louisiana Tech, 88-51. Ohio State over Rutgers, 80-73. Missouri State over UTEP, 79-55. Number 3, Iowa State over West Virginia, 80-59. Number 7, Gonzaga over Seattle, 80-72 in OT. Number 13, Nebraska over number 9, Michigan State, 58-56. Wazoo over Loyola Marymount, 78-76. San Francisco over San Diego, 74-64. St. Mary's over Portland, 78-57. Santa Clara over Pepperdine, 82-63. Pacific over Oregon State, 84-53. And Cal over Notre Dame, 72-71. And then the third, number 21, Virginia over NC State, 76-61. Number 14, Alabama over Kentucky, 89-74. VC over Duquesne, 93-80. Temple over UTSA, 76-57. Villanova over Butler, 85-67. Providence over St. John's, 77-71. Wake over Virginia Tech, 81-78. Clemson over Pitt, 73-68. Number 15, Texas Tech over Oklahoma State, 102-80. Number 23, Georgia over Auburn, 100 in overtime. Kent State over Northern Illinois, 77-73. Southern Miss over Louisiana, 74-67. Georgia State over Coastal, 89-71. Number 10, BYU over Kansas State, 83-73. Number 8, Houston over Cincinnati, 67-60. Number 11, Vandy over South Carolina, 83-71. UCF upsets number 17, Kansas, 81-75. George Washington over LaSalle, 77-55. Dayton over Loyola Chicago, 70-68. TCU over Baylor, 69-63. DePaul over Xavier, 86-77. Ohio over Eastern Michigan, 68-67. Bowling Green over UMass, 101-100 in overtime. Buffalo over Ball State, 85-72. Georgia Tech over Boston College, 65-53. SMU over number 12, North Carolina, 97-83. Memphis over Rice, 76-70. Toledo over Central Michigan, 78-75. James Madison over Arkansas State, 78-74. Number 18, Arkansas over number 19, Tennessee, 86-75. Miami of Ohio over Akron, 76-73. Georgia Southern over Old Dominion, 93-86. Oklahoma over Ole Miss, 86-70. Number 6, Duke over Florida State, 91-87. Texas State over Yale Monroe, 84-79. Number 1, Arizona over Utah, 97-78. George Mason over Rhode Island, 61-60 or 50. Utah State over San Jose State, 96-78. Marshall over App State, 88-81. A&M over LSU, 75-72. Troy over South Alabama, 59-49. Minnesota over Northwestern, 84-78. UNLV over Air Force, 67-39. Colorado over Arizona State, 95-89. Number 25, Iowa over UCLA, 74-61. Davidson over St. Joe's, 62-56. Miss State over Texas, 101-98 in OT. Charlotte over Wichita State, 100-104 in double overtime. Number 20, Illinois over Penn State, 73-65. Nevada over Fresno State, 66-65. Number 5, Purdue over Wisconsin, 89-73. New Mexico over Wyoming 78-58. Colorado State over Grand Canyon 70-60. Missouri over number 22 Florida State 76-74. San Diego State over Boise State 110-107 in triple overtime. And then yesterday, notables on Richmond over Fordham 83-75. Seton Hall over Creighton 56-54. Tulane over FAU 69-66. UAB over South Florida 109-106 in double overtime. Number 4 UConn over Marquette 73-57. Delaware over Kennesaw State 67-52. Liberty over Jacksonville State 78-69. Middle Tennessee over Sam Houston 68-67. Drake over Indiana State 74-72. Western Kentucky over Louisiana Tech 66-61. Missouri State over New Mexico State 89-82. Northern Iowa over Evansville 62-48. North Texas over Tulsa 72-67. Florida International over UTEP 76-64. Murray State over Bradley 86-66. Southern Illinois over Belmont 68-67. Santa Clara over San Diego 98-70. San Francisco over Portland 73-68. Pacific over Pepperdine 74-69. Wazoo over Oregon State 81-67. St. Mary's over Seattle 93-76. Indiana over Washington 90-80. And number 7 Gonzaga over Loyola Marymount 82-47. All right, tonight's game's 5 o'clock. Columbia Cornell. My line is Cornell 4.5. And it is 2.5, 171.5. I'll lay it with Cornell. And a big one tonight. 6:30. Fox Sports 1. Number 10, Nebraska. Ohio State. My line is Ohio State by 3 points. And Ohio State is giving 2.5. Totals 156.5. Vegas knows, baby. Welcome to the top 10, and you're going to lose. But I'm going to give out the under for the pick. But Ohio State money line, I highly recommend. Alabama State, Arkansas, Pine Bluff. My line is Pine Bluff 0.3. It's 1.5 and 160.5. I'll take the under there too. Prairie View Southern at 7. My line's Southern 7.7. It's 7.5, 161.5 under. Oregon Rutgers on Peacock. My line's Oregon by 8. It's 5.5, 141.5. I'll lay with Oregon. Yale Brown. My line is Yale by 7. It's 8.5, 144.5. I'll take the over. Milwaukee Green Bay. I have Milwaukee 3.8. 2.5, 144.5. Over. Dartmouth Harvard. I have Harvard 6. 7.5, 146.5. I'll go over on that one too. It's a lot of totals. Penn Princeton. I have Princeton 1.5. It's 2.5, 144.5. That's going over on that one too. Oh my God. My lines have been so dead on. CBS Sports Network, William and Mary in Charleston. I have Charleston 4.3. 1.5, 164.5. I'll lay with Charleston. Lamar, Southeast Louisiana. I have Southeast Louisiana by 1. It's Lamar 1.5 total. 135.5. I'll take Southeast Louisiana plus 1.5 and minus 102 to win. Texas Southern Grambling at 7:30. My line is Grambling 3.7. It is 4.5 and 144.5. I'll take the over. Incarnate Word, Texas Rio Grande. I have Incarnate Word by 1. It's 1.5, 145.5. I'll go over there too. Northwestern State Nichols. I have Nichols by 5. It's 8.5 and 145.5. I'll take the underdog, the cover there. Stephen F. Austin McNeese. I have McNeese 2.3. It's 10.5, 142.5. That's way too high. Give me Stephen F. Austin plus the points. That's way too many points for a 12-2 team to be getting. 8 o'clock, Bam A&M and Miss Valley State. I have Bam A&M by 6. And it is 10.5, 136.5. Like Miss Valley State in the points. A&M Corpus Christi, Houston Christian. I have Houston Christian by 3. And it's A&M Corpus Christi, 3.5, total 131.5. I'll take Houston Christian plus the points and plus 140 to win outright. East Texas A&M, New Orleans. I have New Orleans 3.3. 8.5, 151.5. I'll take East Texas A&M plus the points. And 8:30 Fox Sports 1 USC number 12 Michigan State. And my line is Sparty 8.7. And it is 10.5 and 151.5. I will take the over in that one as well. Okay, now move on to soccer. We'll go over everything of note from New Year's Eve until Sunday. And then we'll go ahead a little bit today as well. So NYE Cup of Nations in Africa, Algeria over Equatorial Guinea 3-2. Burkina Faso over Sudan 2-0. Ivory Coast over Gabon 3-2. Cameroon over Mozambique 2-1. Pro League Al Ittihad over Niam SA 3-1. Al Hilal over Al Khaloud 3-1. Al Qiddiash over Al Shabab 3-2. New Year's Day, EPL, Crystal Palace Fulham 1-1 draw. Liverpool Leeds 0-0 draw. Brentford Tottenham 0-0 draw. Sunderland Man City 0-0 draw. Imagine doing a round robin on all the draws there. You would have made out. ELC, Wrexham over Blackburn 2-0. Bristol City over Portsmouth 5-0. Charlton Coventry 1-1 draw. Derby County over Middlesbrough 1-0. Stoke City over Hull City 1-0. Ipswich over Oxford United 2-1. Preston over Sheffield Wednesday 3-0. Norwich City over Queen's Park 2-1. Millwall Southampton 0-0 draw. Swansea City over West Brom 1-0. Watford over Birmingham City 3-0. And Sheffield United over Leicester City 3-1. January 2nd, La Liga, Real Venezolano, Getafe 1-1 draw. Serie A, AC Milan over Cagliari 1-0. French League 1, Lens over Toulouse 3-0. Pro League, Al Najma Al Khalish 2-2 draw. Al Ettifaq over Al Akdo 2-0. And Al Ali over Al Nasser 3-2. Saturday, EPL, Aston Villa over Nottingham Forest 3-1. Brighton Hove over Burnley 2-0. Wolverhampton over West Ham 3-0. Arsenal over AFC Bournemouth 3-2. La Liga, Celta Vigo over Valencia 4-1. Osasuna Athletic Club 1-1 draw. Villarreal over Elche 3-1. Barcelona over Espanyol 2-0. Serie A, Como over Udinese 1-0. Genoa Pisa 1-1 draw. Sassuolo Parma 1-1 draw. Juventus Lecce 1-1 draw. Atalanta over AS Roma 1-0. French League 1. Lyon over AS Monaco 3-1. Nice Strasbourg 1-1 draw. Stade Rennes over Lille 2-0. Cup of Nations Senegal over Sudan 3-1. And Mali Tunisia 1-1 draw. Mali advances 3-2 on penalties. The Pro League Al Fateh over Al Shabab 2-0. Al Khaloud over Al Faya 5-0. And Al Ittihad over Al Tawoun 1-0. Premiership, Rangers over Celtic 3-1. Dundee over Dundee United 1-0. Falkirk over Aberdeen 1-0. Hearts over Livingston 1-0. Hibernian over Kilmarnock 3-1. Motherwell over St. Mirren 2-0. And then yesterday, EPL Leeds, Man United 1-1 draw. Brentford over Everton 4-2. Newcastle over Crystal Palace 2-0. Tottenham Sunderland 1-1 draw. Fulham Liverpool 2-2 draw. Chelsea Man City 1-1 draw. La Liga, Levante over Sevilla 3-0. Real Madrid over Real Betis 5-1. Alaves Real Oviedo 1-1 draw. Girona over Mallorca 2-1. Atletico Madrid Real Sociedad 1-1 draw. Serie A, Napoli over Lazio 2-0. Fiorentina over Cremonese 1-0. Torino over Verona 3-1. And Inter over Bologna 3-1. French League 1, Nantes over Marseille 2-0. Brest over Ajax 2-0. Lavrace over Angers 2-1. Lorient Metz 1-1 draw. PSG over Paris FC 2-1. Cup of Nations, Morocco over Tunisia 1-0. And Cameroon over South Africa 2-1. The Pro League, Niam SC over Al Hazim 2-1. Al Qiddiash over Al Raida 4-0. And Al Hilal over Damak 2-0. There's a lot of ELC yesterday, but I don't want to touch that. Just the time. We have a final in Africa Cup of Nations. Egypt over Benin 3-1 going on now. Nigeria and Mozambique. We actually have some games tomorrow that I'm actually going to give out picks for. We have Syria in the morning, 9 o'clock. Pisa Como. Como minus 135. Pisa plus 430. Draw plus 250. And do over 2.5 goals plus 114. At noon, Lecce AS Roma. Roma minus 135. Lecce plus 470. Draw plus 240. Over 2.5 goals plus 134. 245 Sassuolo Juventus. Juventus minus 140. Sassuolo plus 400. Draw plus 270. Over 2.5 goals minus 106. Cup of Nations, Algeria and Congo DR. Algeria even money, Congo DR plus 350. Draw 2-1. I'm going Algeria even money. And 2 o'clock, Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso. Ivory Coast minus 125. Burkina Faso is 4-1. The draw is plus 210. I'm going to go with over 2.5 goals at plus 142. Spanish Copa del Rey tomorrow. We have Granada and Real Valenciano. Valenciano's plus 125. Granada plus 230. Draw plus 220. I'm going Valenciano plus 125. And EPL tomorrow's West Ham Nottingham. Nottingham plus 130. West Ham plus 210. Draw plus 230. I'm going with Nottingham at plus 130. All right, on this day, we have a couple of them to do New Year's Eve because we didn't get one on New Year's Eve, which was ridiculous. And then the ones to start off the year. So December 31st, here we go. There's a lot that happened on this day, on New Year's Eve. 2017, Browns finished 0-16. 2018, Bengals fire Marvin Lewis. 2012, Bears fire Lovie Smith. 2013, Texans hire Bill O'Brien. 2017, Colts fire Chuck Pagano. 2019, Redskins hire Ron Rivera. 2022, TCU upsets Michigan in college football playoff semifinals. Can't believe it's been that long that happened. And TCU got crushed in the Natty. 2012, Chargers fire Norv Turner. Wow. 2018, Dolphins fire Adam Gase. 2017, Bills clinch first playoff berth in 18 years. 2017, Raiders fire Jack Del Rio. 2022, Georgia defeats Ohio State in college football playoff semifinals. That was the year that was simultaneous with the ball drop, which was ironic. 2012, Cardinals fire Ken Wisenhunt. 2023, Bears clinch 2024 number 1 pick, turned out to be Caleb Williams. 2014, Doug Marrone opts out as coach. That's right, he had an opt-out with the Bills. And then back to the Bears for a second. That was the Panthers pick in the Bryce Young trade. 2012, Chiefs fire Romeo Crennel. 2021, Georgia defeats Michigan in college football playoff semifinals. 2018, Broncos fire Vance Joseph. 2012, Bills fire Chan Gailey. He was a bad coach. 2016, Clemson defeats Ohio State in college football playoff semifinals. That was a long time ago. 2018, Cardinals fire Steve Wilkes. 2012, Browns fire Pat Shurmur. 2022, TCU defeats Ole Miss in the Peach Bowl. And 2015, the Dodgers signed Kenta Maeda. New Year's Day was a busy one, too. On this day, 2020, David Stern passes away. That was sad. 2025 Sugar Bowl postponed due to terror attack. I remember that. I just can't believe it's been a year. 2018, Bruce Arians retires as coach of the Cardinals. 2015, Ohio State upsets Alabama in the college football playoff semifinals. That was the first college football playoff. 2024, Michigan defeats Alabama in college football playoff semifinals. That was the J.J. McCarthy drive down the field. 2017, Gary Kubiak steps down as coach of the Broncos. 2018, Georgia defeats Oklahoma in the college football playoff semifinals. 2022, Jackson Smith-Njigba sets bowl record with 347 yards. 2018, Lions fire Jim Caldwell. 2017, 49ers fire Chip Kelly. 2014, Bucks hire Lovie Smith. And Chip Kelly, I think, was one and done with the Niners. In 2018, Bears fire John Fox. And wasn't Lovie Smith one and done with the Bucks? In 2015, Oregon defeats Florida State in the college football playoff semifinals. That I remember was Mariota against Winston. I think they blew them out. And that Florida State team was very overrated because they won all those close games that year. 2017, Chargers fire Mike McCoy. It's funny because he's actually the intern coach of the Titans right now. 2017, Browns clinched 2017 number 1 pick. 2024, Washington defeats Texas in the college football playoff semifinals. 2019, Houston hires Dana Holgorsen. 2025, Texas defeats Arizona in college football playoff semifinals. 2018, Alabama defeats Clemson in college football playoff semifinals. 2017, 49ers fired GM Trent Baalke. And I think they ended up hiring John Lynch after that. 2018, UCF defeats Auburn in the Peach Bowl. 2016, Stanford defeats Iowa in the Rose Bowl. 2024, Steelers named Mason Rudolph starting quarterback. And 2025, Ohio State defeats Oregon in college football playoff semifinals. And that was last year, obviously. January 2nd, this was Fridays. I mean, this is obviously the one everyone's going to remember. 2023. Damar Hamlin suffers cardiac arrest, game suspended. You knew that was going to be the top one. That was just awful. I opened the podcast with that the next day. If you guys go back in my archives, and you'll find it. And that was a rough one. And he's still playing in the league. And that's good that he's doing good. Or doing good like physically. And I think it's cool that he's still playing. 2023, Donovan Mitchell scores 71 points. And that literally went under the radar. 2022, Antonio Brown takes off shirt, storms off the field. That was at MetLife against the Jets, I think. No, that couldn't have been. Because that would have been week 18. But I do remember that. But why do I feel like I haven't a MetLife? 2021, Texas hires Steve Sarkisian. 2018, Carson Palmer retires. 2021, Texas fires Tom Herman, so they fired Tom Herman and hired Steve Sarkisian the same day. 2014, Leonard Fournette commits to LSU. Leonard Fournette, oh my God. Blast from the past. 2018, Arizona fires Rich Rodriguez. 2025, Notre Dame defeats Georgia in college football playoff semifinals. 2014, Bears extend Jay Cutler. 2023, Tulane defeats USC in the Cotton Bowl. 2017, USC defeats Penn State in Rose Bowl thriller. On this day, January 3rd, so this was Saturday, 2013, Ray Lewis to retire. 2021, Derrick Henry records 2,000-yard rushing season. 2014, Texas hires Charlie Strong. 2022, Caleb Williams enters the portal. Ends up going to USC. 2021, Jets fire Adam Gase. 2021, Browns clinch first playoff berth in 18 years. 2016, Browns fire Mike Pettin. I forgot about Mike Pettin. 2025, this was last year, Heat suspend Jimmy Butler 7 games. 2016, 49ers fire Jim Tomazula. He was the worst coach ever. Like, some will say Joe Judge, some will say Matt Patricia, Pat Shurmur, but nobody's fucking worse than former 49ers coach Jim Tomazula. He was so bad. Going from Jim Harbaugh, who is a Hall of Fame coach, to that. He was one and done, too. 2021, Stephen Curry scores 62 points. 2015, Ravens defeat Steelers in the wild card round. Well, it's crazy to think that the playoffs were that early that year. And I do remember that Ravens-Steelers game. In 2020, Mississippi State fires Joe Moorhead. January 4th. This was yesterday. 2013, Chiefs hire Andy Reid. 2016, Tom Coughlin steps down as head coach of the Giants. 2019, Justin Fields transfers to Ohio State. 2015, this was a sad one. Stuart Scott passes away. I'm surprised that wasn't the number one. 2023, Rafael Devers signs 11 years, $331 million extension with the Red Sox, and then they don't trade him 2 years later. 2020, Titans upset Patriots in the wild card round. That was the infamous Tom Brady last game as a Pat. And Ryan Tannehill was the quarterback of Tennessee. 2021, Jaguars fire Doug Marrone. 2021, Chargers fire Anthony Lynn. 2014, Colts defeat Chiefs in Excuse me. Colts defeat Chiefs in playoffs with historic comeback. I remember that. Andrew Luck. And that was the first year of Andy Reid and the Chiefs and Alex Smith. And they blew like a 35-0 lead or something crazy like that. 2024, Will Howard transfers to Ohio State. 2014, Titans fire Mike Munchak. And 2015, the Cowboys defeat the Lions in the wild card round. I remember that too. Tony Romo, who played Matt Stafford. And then today, January 5th, 2021, Devontae Smith wins the Heisman Trophy. 2018, Raiders hire John Gruden. Yikes. 2020, Cowboys Jason Garrett part ways. 2025, Patriots fire Gerard Mayo. 2023, Texas fires Chris Beard. 2025, Mike Evans extends 1,000-yard streak to 11 years. 2023, Sam Harton transfers to Notre Dame. 2015, Thunder acquire Deion Waiters in 3-team deal. Oh my God. 2020, Vikings defeat Saints in the wild card round. I remember that. That was an overtime game too, with Cousins. 2025, Aaron Rodgers throws 500th touchdown. 2014, 49ers defeat the Packers in the wild card round. And I think that was at Lambeau too. And in 2021, the Texans hire Nick Caserio as general manager. So there you have it for on this day. News and notes is obviously going to be busy too. Coming down a couple of minutes ago, Davante Adams may play against the Panthers as he was dealing with the hamstring injuries. That is a really good thing for the Rams. The Yankees' biggest priority right now is retaining Cody Bellinger. That is amid Bo Bichette rumors. So they should bring him back. He was awesome for them last year, and he's a versatile player. I know somebody saying, just go get the better player. It's Kyle Tucker. But I like Kyle Tucker. That would be a really good addition. I mean, he is better than Bellinger, but sometimes you have to just be realistic about things. The Yankees are a team, along as well as the Red Sox, linked to Willie Peralta of the Brewers. I don't know why the Brewers are trying to blow up their team. The Cubs are linked to Cody Bellinger, which is interesting. The Yankees are also eyeing a trade for, I meant to say Freddie Peralta, not Willie Peralta. Edward Cabrera of the Marlins, that would be an interesting one. That could be like their next reclamation project kind of guy. Like a lot of those, some of those have worked out, others have not. Like Evaldi worked out on a different team, not necessarily on the Yankees, but they've had a couple of those guys come in and out over years. James Paxton didn't work out. Who's the other guy? Oh, Jamison Tyon didn't work out, but yeah, they're trying for that again, but that really hasn't worked. The Phillies hired Don Mattingly. So Don Mattingly is going to be the bench coach for Rob Thompson in Philly. The Raiders fired Pete Carroll, so he's one and done after finishing with the league's worst record. The Cardinals fired Jonathan Gannon as they end the year on a 9-game losing skid. The Browns fire Kevin Stefanski. I was calling for him to be fired. Not that he should have been fired, but like I was predicting his firing a couple times because they're the Browns and they're stupid. And they actually did it. But he's going to have interest. You know, the Giants and the Titans and some of these teams that have openings are going to interview him. He's a good coach. He just has a crap organization, or is with a crap organization. The worst organization, arguably, in professional sports. I mean, some might say the New York Jets, which is probably the correct answer, but the Browns are the Browns. So Raheem Morris has been fired from the Falcons. So has general manager Terry Fontenot. So we'll see where they go. We had some soccer firings too. Man United fires Amorim after 14 months in charge, and Celtic fires Wilfred Nancy. 33 days. These soccer firings are crazy. The Titans are eyeing Matt Nagy, the Chiefs offensive coordinator. I wouldn't like that. He was terrible with the Bears. The Falcons are likely to hire Matt Ryan as the Falcons also got rid of like their one of their top dogs. I would hate that. That's just, of course, you're living in the past, bringing back a familiar face. That's every bit like Eli Manning being in charge of the Giants, or Peyton Manning being in charge of either the Colts or the Broncos, or Aaron Rodgers eventually being in charge of the Packers, or I mean Tom Brady, if he was in that role in New England or even Tampa. Phil Rivers with the Chargers or the Colts. I mean, there's so many freaking examples of this, which I could like see. Drew Brees with the Saints, and I feel like they never work out. And the one that stands out to me is always going to be when St. John's hired Chris Mullin to be their coach, and he was a complete disaster. But yeah, so Richie McKay's out as CEO of the Falcons. And then Greg Beatles has been elevated from president and CEO of the Falcons, effective today, succeeding McKay. They're part of sweeping changes in Atlanta, where the Falcons are expected to also hire a president of football, which is likely, like I said, Matt Ryan. So Arthur Blank is just a lunatic, just like these other NFL owners. And Matt Ryan has been doing homework on GM and coach candidates. The Colts are keeping Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard despite missing the postseason again. I see why they're just blaming the Daniel Jones injury for why they missed the playoffs, but your defense stunk, and your offense actually wasn't a disaster without Daniel Jones. Like, Phil Rivers did admirable, and even Riley Leonard was okay today, or yesterday. Charles Cross, 4-year extension, $104.4 million, largest non-quarterback contract in team history. Good for him. The Giants are keeping general manager Joe Shane, despite 22-55-1 record during tenure. Not a fan of him coming back, but the reason why he's back is because Jackson Dart looks like a franchise quarterback. And he nailed the draft, like this past year, Scattaboo, and he nailed Neighbors. Because like I said, like, if you hit the quarterback, then you probably save your job. But I don't agree with that necessarily. Like, the Falcons are cleaning house completely. I mean, but we don't even know if Penix is a hit, to be fair. So, yeah, we know how these kinds of things work. If you miss the quarterback, you're done. And then the Giants are eyeing Charlie Weiss Jr. to work with Jackson Dart. That's his old offensive coordinator at Ole Miss. Jimmy Butler is advice to Jonathan Kuminga. He's looking out for his brother amid contract stalemate with the Warriors. Jonathan Kuminga is just an overrated fucking useless player. Like, there's a reason the Warriors don't like him. I say this on every freaking podcast, I feel like, though. The Lakers are looking for two-way help. Pelicans still resistant to trade Herb Jones and Trey Murphy. Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura to miss the road trip. Derek Jones Jr. out 6 weeks with the grade 2 MCL sprain. That's not good for the Clippers. Fred VanVleet may return this season. That's crazy. I feel like we all wrote him off. Tyler Herro available, may not play, as he will suit up as part of a ramp up against the Pels. That was, I guess, was from yesterday. Benedict III out for a while with the thumb injury. I think they're freaking tanking. Indiana. Keyshawn George still out without a return table, hip injury. Wenberg gets extended from the Sharks, 3 years, $18 million. Cam Ward avoids surgery as he has an AC joint sprain in the shoulder, best case scenario. Kelvin Banks got ruled out with the ankle injury against the Falcons. LeBron James says there's no holes in his game. I think that's ridiculous. The Brewers hired Daniel Vogelbach as a hitting coach on Pat Murphy's staff. I think that's cool. The Mets are deep in the pitching market as the Mets are seriously interested in adding frontline starter via trade or free agency. How about you fucking do it, Mets? Be serious and man up and add him. And Joe Beningo's still going to be crying about the GM who nobody likes. Ex-Wisconsin quarterback Billy Edwards Jr. commits to North Carolina. Oregon running back Makai Hughes transfers to Houston. Indiana lands Nick Marsh from Michigan State, the wideout. Mason Williams transfers to Ohio State, the tight end from Ohio. Rocco Becht signs with Penn State, the former Iowa State quarterback. Nebraska lands Notre Dame quarterback Kenny Minchey, former four-star, after Dylan Raiola entered the transfer portal. Brendan Sorsby leaving Cincinnati, going to Texas Tech. Rutgers gets BC quarterback Dylan Lonergan. Chamberlain likely staying at school for a 6th year. Josh Hoover of TCU going to Indiana, projected to be Hoosiers QB1 if Randall Mendoza goes to the draft, which he will. Gio Lopez to transfer after they got Wisconsin's quarterback. DJ Lagway visiting Virginia. Clemson hires Chad Morris as their offensive coordinator. He's going there for a second stint. The Bengals are keeping Zach Taylor. Aaron Rodgers got an incentive on that missed field goal by Tyler Loop. And that's really it for news and notes. Last but not least, my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. So I'm going to Southland. I usually don't love picking lower major schools, but I have to here. I just absolutely have to. I'm taking Stephen F. Austin plus the points against McNeese. That's way too high, and I think this is a reputation line. So give me Stephen F. Austin plus 10.5 against McNeese for my best bet of the day. So there you have it for the show, and I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything and looking ahead to everything come tomorrow. So hope you guys have a great day, everybody.